As a kid, what did you think was a very normal thing to do, which it really wasn't? When you went to the sitter every day, you were to sit on the couch and never move. Seriously, my brothers, sister and I were forced to sit on the couch with the TV on at the sitter's house, while her kids ran around like a bunch of hellions. When we got a new sitter after moving, all four of us promptly sat on the couch and stayed there. Our new sitter pulled a bunch of toys out and sat in the floor and played with us. A little sitter. We had to sit quietly on the couch after my nanny's husband got home. I don't think it was ever actually for that long before my dad picked us up, but it always felt like an eternity. I always found him to be very scary and dreaded that part of the day. A few years later we were in daycare instead. My mom came to pick us up early and found that the teacher was making everyone just sit silently, spaced out from each other, no toys, no moving. She dug into the issue further and learned that this was pretty common there and not just like a moment of trying to restore order to the class or anything. We changed daycares shortly after. The next daycare had practically no rules. We just ran wild while the teachers smoked and watched us. We fucking loved it. Having camping nights. Mom would light candles and make dinner with camping gear. She and I would play games until my bedtime huddled up in the living room. It was because she was crazy poor and she divorced my dad and a few times she couldn't pay the electricity on time. I thought it was fun. Or, what a great mom. If you haven't, you should tell her. When our kids were young, we rented a house in a more posh neighborhood, to be close to my husband's job, and it was impossible to keep up with the Joneses. We just didn't have the money. But I did things like reading Little House on the Prairie by oil lamplight, or turning our already very sparsely furnished house into a haunted house for my son's birthday party. My daughter told me recently that she adored the lamplight readings, and the cool rich classmates said it was the best birthday party they'd been to. It meant a lot to this mom, who wanted to give her kids the world but couldn't afford it. Edited because rambunctious puppies caused a post before I was finished. Tongue. Have speed up spells where it feels like I just got off a treadmill and my internal monologue is yelling. Turns out I have epilepsy and was having seizures. Didn't realize back when I was like 7, but presented with tonic-clonics, grand mal, at 15. Or listen to the air vent and hear music in white noise. This was likely auditory hallucinations, also due to epilepsy. Stupid brain. I pretty much always hear faint music in white noise. It feels like it's a song I know but it's just not loud enough that I could recognize and be sure. Well, I just found out I have some things to bring up with my doctor. I've never known anyone else that experiences that sensation, the yelling internal monologue and treadmill feeling. It happens sporadically and not too often and I've never brought it up, but it's happened to me since I was a kid. I'm 28 now. Apparently when I was a kid I used to pick up quarters on the street. My parents didn't want me doing that so my dad told me to not pick up coins, because people put them in their butts. I didn't use change for anything until I started driving at 16. As crack bandit. My parents told me the same thing. Except they were racist. According to them all money could have been up N-words butthole. When I was in 4th grade I actually asked a black kid if they did that. He just stared at me with a blank look on his face and shook his head no. Building homes for snails and slugs when it rained. My older brother and I would love to go outside when it rained and collect slugs and snails to put in these little pebble shelters we'd make for them in the backyard. We did this for roly-polies and not just when it rained. They never appreciated it, just went back under their log again. This is so wholesome. My family are not comfortable around each other. Never any touching, kissing or cuddling. Any physical contact is forced and horribly awkward. No one also talks and any disagreements simmer for years with a grudging resentment. When I first started dating my now husband I was shocked his family would just sit close to each other, like their legs would touch on the couch. Like not overly touchy, just normal, but not normal to me. They also spoke to each other if they were upset. I was quite envious. Experienced this with my ex-boyfriend's family I lived with for a few years. It took me a while to get used to, but it taught me so much about what I want for myself someday. That sounds nice. My family is like yours. It fucking sucks. Collecting roadkill and utilizing insects to clean the bones so I could collect them. Jeff Dahmer over here. Shoveling food into your face as quickly as possible while huddled around the TV. It wasn't until a sleepover at a friend's house that I encountered a family sitting around a dinner table talking about their day. At the time it made me super uncomfortable, but I've learned to slow down and appreciate it more with time. I am a 34-year-old man and I sadly know I can eat a tilapia fillet in 6 seconds. In a similar vein, becoming protective about your food because at any moment, a parent or sibling could go, "Oh hey, I want that," and snatch it off your plate. Jesus. I was going to say cutting pickle spears into little triangles to eat alongside your sandwich. This thread went in a way different direction. Be unique. Tell us about your quirky little take on food. Thought it was completely normal to take care of your younger siblings. When I was younger, my single mother was a drug addict, and she had a really hard time waking up in the mornings to take care of my twin brothers. So before I went to school, I was about 8 to 9 at the time when she began abusing drugs. I'd change my brothers' diapers, give them some bottles so when they woke up they could chill, and then I'd just go to school without her knowing. By the time I got home from school, she'd be up and playing with my brothers and making dinner. I didn't know she was on drugs until I was about 12 and just thought everyone's mom or dad did this. Also, my mother wasn't purposely neglectful or anything. She was a good mother and overall I had a good childhood. It was just unfortunate that she developed a drug habit and couldn't wake up in the mornings / was sometimes out of it. However, she did lose custody of us for a while, got clean and eventually got us back. She's been clean for a couple years now, and while she isn't perfect, I do really appreciate how hard she tries. Edit, I really appreciate the rewards. I'm trying to reply to comments, but this is pretty much my first time using Reddit and it confuses me. I really appreciate what others have to say, and I do need to state that my mom never purposely neglected me or any of my other siblings. In another comment I did go into depth about things, so I don't wanna repeat myself right now. I'm currently 18 years old BTW, and my mom has been clean for about 5 years or so. My twin brothers are now 11, and I have a 5-year-old brother and a 19-year-old sister. However, she didn't live with my mom when she was on drugs. She's a much better person today, and she's really regretful about her past drug abuse. She always tries her hardest to make sure we're happy, and although we don't have a lot of money and we aren't a perfect family, we aren't and have never been purposely neglected. My immediate family is very close, and my mom has also been in a relationship with her amazing boyfriend for 5 years now. He's also an ex-addict, so they are able to rely on each other. My mom isn't perfect, but I will always love her because I consider my childhood to be fairly good. I don't blame her for anything, although my experience was much more different than others. You aren't required to forgive your parents for their neglect, and you're allowed to be mad. I just moved past things, and I plan on going to therapy / counseling to talk about anything I may not be over. I'm going to try reading all the replies, but I'm really nervous about replying to them all. Thank you to everyone's replies. I'm actually kinda grateful that others had similar experiences to me growing up because for so long I thought I was alone. That's good to hear. Not everyone who happens to be in such a situation is a bad person. I'm sure they also appreciate how hard you worked. Thanks for sharing the story of your mom's recovery. I'm so happy to hear that there was a happy ending. Trusting everything people say to me. This is an underrated comment. For some reason I think I was born an idealist or something. I was told as a kid that lying is wrong, because I clearly and intentionally lied once, and that we should always tell the truth. So I just thought that everyone told the truth, and if someone lied, their feelings would be hurt immediately, as if somehow the person knew right away. So I've always trusted others 100%. I've slowly gotten depressed because thinking everyone else is right makes everything I think wrong. And now I'm trying hard to learn to not trust others always. My mom hates lies. She is also very good at telling when someone is lying, and everyone knows it. Most people don't flat out lie to her or around her. It isn't worth it. This resulted in me growing up with the assumption that the vast majority of people normally tell the truth. It wasn't until college that I found out most people don't consider lying a big deal and do it fairly regularly. Which I honestly still find really messed up. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.